a city swollen with trade, faith and ambition, suddenly brought to its knees by a plague so merciless that whole streets fell silent, whole families vanished, and even kings trembled at its shadow. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into the forgotten corners of history, I'd be grateful if you gave this a like or subscribe, and tell me where you're listening from, your city, and whether it's day or night. Till now, take a deep breath, let your shoulders loosen, and prepare to drift back with me into the haunted heart of 14th century London. Congratulations! Dawn seeps through a thin window shutter, carrying with it the faint sound of church bells echoing from St. Paul's Cathedral. You stir on a straw mattress in a timber-framed house, the air heavy with smoke from the hearth and the faint, sour smell of waste drifting up from the streets below. Since the lane is narrow, hemmed in by overhanging buildings, their crooked beams leaning as if whispering to one another above the cobbles. Normally mornings here would hum with the cries of vendors, the rattle of carts, the clang of a blacksmith's hammer. But today feels different. The air itself seems heavier, as though the city holds its breath. The first thing you notice is the smell. Not the usual mix of bread ovens and horse dung, but something sharper, more rotten. A cart passes by, pulled by a weary horse. Its driver, cloaked and masked, calls out in a hoarse voice, "Bring out your dead." You watch as a door opens across the lane and two men, faces pale, lift a shrouded body onto the cart. The wheel creaks as it rolls away, carrying its grim burden toward the edge of the city. You join the trickle of people moving toward the market square. Their faces are drawn, eyes hollowed by fear and sleepless night. A woman clutches a rosary so tightly her knuckles whiten. A boy runs barefoot through the lane, laughing in defiance of the silence until his mother yanks him back indoors. Rumors spread faster than the plague itself, whispers that the air is poisoned, that foreign traders brought death in their ships, that God himself has turned his face from England. As you pass a tavern, you hear muffled voices inside. Two men argue in low tones. "Tie is punishment," one insists. "No," the other growls. "'Tis the Jews poisoning the wells, that's what folks say." You shiver. Fear has bred suspicion, and suspicion sharpens into cruelty. In the shadows of the plague, scapegoats are never far away. You make your way to London Bridge, its stone arches spanning the sluggish Thames. Beneath you, the river carries barges loaded with barrels and timber, but it also carries something else: disease. Rats scurry across the docks, fleas hiding in their fur invisibles. On the bridge itself, shops line the way, their shutters half closed. An apothecary offers bundles of herbs promising protection. A priest, gaunt and weary, lifts a crucifix high and begs passers-by to confess their sins before it's too late. The city feels suspended between faith and despair. In one alley you glimpse a procession of flagellants, men stripped to the waist, their backs bleeding as they whip themselves with knotted cords, chanting prayers to beg God's mercy. On another street, you find gamblers crouched in shadow, dice clicking against the stones as though death itself could be ignored with a throw of luck. By midday, the sun bakes the city, and the stench grows strong, while graves cannot be dug fast enough. In the churchyards, pits are opened wide and deep, bodies laid side by side without coffins, without names. The grave diggers work in silence, their faces wrapped in cloth, their shovels. Somewhere nearby, church bells toll again, but this time it is not for the hour, it is for the dead. You wander toward Cheapside, once the bustling heart of trade. The stall, a fishmonger slaps a limp herring onto his block, his eyes darting nervously at every cough around him. A baker sells loaves dark with rye, the smell of warm bread mingling with the sour tang of fish. Yet there is a strange resilience too. People still bargain, still eat, still cling to the rhythm of life, even as death presses close. Shadows stretch across the walls, and the sound of chanting drifts from a nearby church. Inside, the faithful kneel on cold stone floor. You pause nearby, listening. It spreads quicker now, one whispers. The rats are everywhere, the other replies. London won't stand the winter if it carries on. You pull your cloak tighter. The city feels darker, more fragile. Beyond the walls, villages are already silent. Fields untended, roads empty. Inside the walls, fear hangs heavier with each passing night. Through the cracks in the shutters, you watch the moon rise over the crooked rooftops. The city murmurs restlessly. Dogs barking, carts rolling, a baby crying somewhere in the night. You close your eyes, but the image of that cart creaking under its burden lingers in your mind. When dawn comes, pale and cold, London wakes to the same grim rhythm. Another cart will roll. Yet somehow life continues. Bread is baked, bells are rung, prayers are whispered. The city endures even as the plague stalks every alley, every hearth, every breath. And as you step back from this world, returning slowly to your own, you carry with you the memory of medieval London. Not in its glory, not in its triumphs, but in its struggle to keep breathing when death pressed against every door.